Welcome to our Director's Masterclass, the 3 secrets to systems that can take you from chaos to clarity. I promise you that if you follow the strategies that I'm going to teach you in this masterclass, you will exit the overwhelm and your endless list of to-dos. You'll gain some mad delegation and organization skills, and you'll get your team aligned. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm so glad that you have decided to come to this masterclass today. My name is Beth Cannon, and I cannot wait to teach you these strategies because I've done them. I've implemented them. I've taught them multiple times to multiple different schools, people that are in faith-based preschools, people in nonprofits, people in chain childcare centers. I know that they work. And so I'm excited for you to dive in, and I'm so glad that you're here. I want to make sure that you get the absolute most out of this. So grab your live bonus to show up. So there's a couple of things. When you go to bethcannonspeaks.com/MC assets, that's MC as in Masterclass assets, you're going to get to print out your awesome manual. This is a 10-page guidebook that I've given you guys. Plus, there is the Ideal Teacher Avatar tool that you can use when you work on starting to create culture in your school. Now, the cool thing about this masterclass notebook is it's not only something for you to print out and write on, because I'm an 80s girl. I mean, I love my Trapper Keeper. I love taking notes. I like writing everything down. But because we've moved into the 21st century, not only can you print it out and write things on it, and it's really pretty for you to use, there are also clickable links inside of this. So you're going to want to download it and print it, because there are clickable links, because I have planned to give you a ton of content throughout this. So I love free stuff. I love resources. And I know that's why you guys showed up today. So make sure that you go and grab your bonus. So in this masterclass, I'm going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from struggling to stay on top of the pile to really staying faithful and focused on your mission. So I know that you're ready to level up because you showed up. You showed up because you've got some sort of gaps, and I'm hoping to help you point those out. Now, I want to let you know a little bit about my experience. I've been in early childhood about 23 years now. I am a business leadership strategist and trainer for early education professionals. And my mission is to empower the leaders in this community and your teams through business and leadership training that's going to give you more clarity, confidence, and doing it with compassion. So I am super passionate about those things. Now, I want to make sure that you are ready to get clear and confident for yourself, because you're an early childhood leader. You have survived possibly the dismantling of your business or ministry, and now you're determined to come back with more purpose than ever. So maybe you closed, maybe you stayed open, but for whatever reason you're here, you know it's time for some change. So, and I want to remind you guys, if you stick with me through the end of this class, I am going to give you some information on how you can get our Leaders Lounge professional bonus. So if you're here because you heard about us through the Leaders Lounge, we did a VIP pass that had 24 hours for ECE directors. Are you guys drinking your water? Make sure you grab some water if you don't have some. Anyway, you're going to have a chance to get that bundle for free if you make it to the end of this class. Now, turn off distractions. I get very distracted. I have a little ADD going on. So I have to put my phone away, turn off distractions, and I hope that you do as well. So here we go into our masterclass. So let's take a look at what we've got coming up. The reason that you're here, the first reason, is you are intrigued by the idea that you might be actually really be able to find systems that work with your brain. Reason number 2, maybe you're motivated to capitalize on the reset that this crazy season has brought you, and you know that this is the time to update all of your tired old systems and get your team aligned. Or maybe you're nosy and the word secret made you realize that you just had to log on. Wherever you are, whoever you are, tell me in the comments. So if you are watching this live, of course, I want to make sure that you guys interact. You're intrigued, you're motivated, or really you're just curious. So I'm just wondering, what made you want to show up today? Whatever the reason, I am just glad to have you here. So let me explain how I know this system is going to work. So I mentioned to you guys, I've got over 20 years of experience doing this, training early childhood educators. I've been doing teaching and training thousands of early childhood leaders through coaching, through conference speaking, through retreats. And also, I'm the corporate trainer, the international trainer for Stretch and Grow International. So I've trained business owners, ECE business owners and leaders all over the world. So I just tell you those things, to make you realize I've got a few years on me, a little bit of hindsight because I've learned what works and what doesn't work. And so I'm excited to share some tips and tools to let you guys know what I found that does work. So getting started. The next page in your manual is going to ask you for just a little bit of insight. So if you'll flip to that third page, it's kind of a roadmap. You start with the realization that you're kind of stuck. You assess your leadership habits, and then you're going to create a plan that gets you unstuck. Then you get your team on board. Then you implement free systems that finally get you organized. And then you've got the confidence, right? So I want you to just kind of jot down in your notebook, where are you feeling most stuck right now? So whether it's with your staff, whether it's with your inability to get organized, where are you personally feeling stuck right now? Because in order to get unstuck, you've got to make some changes to move forward. So I want to go ahead and bust into my first secret to doing that. The next page of your notebook has got a little fill in the blank, and it says you must have total clarity about your vision for your school. Total clarity. Now, I do trainings a lot, live ones, online, a lot with people all over the world. And when I say, what are your core values? Very few people can tell me that. They're like, well, they're on the website, or I think I know kind of sort of what they are. But here's the thing. You probably, as the leader, live into those core values, but does your team know them? Do they know what it looks like to be on brand? So the first secret is you've got to have total clarity about where you're going. Your staff has to have total clarity about what's expected of them. How do they act? How do they interact with you, with the teachers? What are the rules? What are the expectations? What are your policies and procedures that are so important to you that help you keep your team aligned? So can you or anyone on your team articulate your core values? I want you to just jot that down in your notebook. And then inside of your notebook, there is a link, and it just says download your core values challenge here. When you click that link, it'll take you to an entire workbook of core values challenges. Now, this is part of our Stuck to Strategy Academy, which is what I'm going to tell you about later. Our Stuck to Strategy Academy goes through 8 weeks of core modules, and it starts with nailing down what your core values are. So if this is something that you've been thinking about doing, whether you do it with me or whether you do it on your own, I'm all about giving you guys resources that help you to do this on your own. But if you are looking for a done with you team, you want to make sure that you understand what your core values are. So make sure that you click and download that, and you'll find that link inside of the notebook that I made you. Activity without purpose is the drain of your life. That is what Tony Robbins says. He's one of my favorite motivational speakers. And so understanding your purposes, understanding your why is so important. I mentioned to you my why when I started this. I love to train early childhood people. I mean, I do business training. I do different kinds of training. But because of my experience with Stretch and Grow, which is our enrichment program that I started when my daughter was a baby, and she's now almost 23, I really, really love this community. And this community doesn't get access to assets like this very often. And these aren't things we think about. We think about let's talk about loose parts play, or let's talk about reading or physical literacy or potty training. There's so many things that we can talk about, things that we can do with popsicle sticks. But when it comes to true business training to really get your team aligned and understand your purpose, we don't get a lot of training on that. So that's why I'm so excited to bring all this information to you all, because this is the truth. If you are not clear on your values and your vision, you cannot lead your team. Your team needs to know what your values and your vision are. So make sure that you, again, it's right inside. When you look at your little secret, there's right here, little core values challenge down over here at the bottom. So make sure you grab that. Also, you've got your workbook to write in. I'm a big note taker. I highly encourage you guys, if you're not taking notes, take some notes. So whether it's a high turnover, burnout, or just an overall disconnect between you and your team, nailing down how you want your team to function is going to really drive your daily peace. And who doesn't need peace, right? You wake up with peace every morning. Oftentimes, you decide who gets to take it away from you, though. So give your staff the opportunity to determine the behaviors that really drive a values-driven culture. Again, as part of the download, I gave you guys this really cool tool. I use this in workshops a lot. It's creating your ideal teacher avatar. So this is just a fun activity you can do with your team. Again, you've got the link right there to print it. Use it in your next staff meeting. Find out your ideal teachers. Ask your teachers, what are the top qualities of the best teacher you have here? And then what happens when you have a nightmare hire? I mean, I know I've had them. I'm sure you have too. And then break down what are the behaviors that are expected. This is a super cool activity that you can do with your team. So again, there is an actionable resource. You can print it out, use this with your team, nail down your core values, find out how you want them to act. Because what's really cool is when you are in a room with all of your teachers and you say, okay, let's talk about the best qualities of our best teacher. And then, you know, of course, they're engaged, the families love them, the kids love them, they show up, they're a team player, they're an encourager, they communicate well. So what's happening is if you have maybe some team members who aren't really hitting on all cylinders, they hear those things and maybe they think to themselves, I'm kind of a B team girl. I'm not really on the A team. What is it going to take for me to up my game so that I can be that kind of teacher? And it really allows them to point out their own inconsistencies and they kind of tell on themselves. So this is a super great team tool. And I'm big on teaching on culture and habits and accountability. So make sure that you get that downloaded. So one way to stop the interruptions from happening, the domino effect from happening, is to enact what I call your push time. That is your priority uninterrupted strategy haven. When you are in your office, does your team have good boundaries? Like, do they know when you are really working on something, unless the building is on fire, don't come tell you that you have some strategy things that you are needing to work on. And so many times, because we're helpers, right? If you follow the Enneagram or you study that, most early childhood directors came up as educators and they are twos, which means that they are helpers, which means that you truly want to help people. And so it's very difficult sometimes to set those boundaries, because when someone needs help, you feel like you are living your best life when you help people. But the truth is that doesn't necessarily help you. So in your workbook, there's a question there. It's, What would it feel like for you to slay your day? So I want you to think about that, process that. What would it truly feel like for you to have a successful day? When you walk into your building, what would it feel like for you to just feel super successful? So find some push time in your schedule. How do you spend your 168 hours? There is, again, the link in your workbook that I want you to download. And I want you to be able to track that time, to know and understand what it is that you are doing with all of your time. And that is going to lead me to one of my all-time favorite tricks. Like, okay, y'all, this is what you came for. If you've never heard of Trello, I'm about to rock your world. Trello is a project management tool. It has a free version of it. And if you're on my email list, you probably got an email within the last couple of weeks that gives you a link to Trello to be able to try. You get 10 boards for free. And it's just the best time management organization tool I've had. So if you've got an assistant, you're working with assistant, you can collaborate on that. In Stick to Strategy, I teach you how to use it for your own time management. I teach you how to use it to manage and track your team, how to use it for your onboarding processes. So you're automating onboarding process. So the to-do list for all of the things that your staff needs to do when they start working for you, a board that lays out everything. So I do a lot of training with Trello. It just makes sense, super user-friendly, and again, personal use, or you can share it with your team. So this is an example of one of the boards that we use. This is our teacher tracking board. And on the teacher tracking board, this is your productivity planner. Your productivity planner will show you, this is your own to-do list. Your directors can do a to-do list. There's a column that you can drag it to when it's done. You've got recurring tasks that you can take a look at, school event planning, leadership assets. So lots of really cool things can happen when you use Trello. And in Stick to Strategy, I teach you a ton of my very best tricks. I don't think I can I really run my business on Trello. I have close to 100 boards to do all the different things that I do. But once you find a productivity system that works with your brain, your life has changed. And the cool thing about it is that it's free for a certain number of boards. So I hope that you super love Trello as much as I do. I also want to share a quote. This is from Faith. Now, Faith was in Stick to Strategy Academy last time when we ran this in the fall. And she says, I enjoyed getting connect with other directors who struggle with similar issues. It always makes me feel better to know I'm not alone. The knowledge I gained was priceless. The free apps and systems Beth shared with us have definitely made my job and my life easier. And y'all, that is solid gold to me when I can help someone make your life easier, because sometimes we don't even know what we don't know. A couple of years ago, when I was so bogged down after 20 years of running on that hamster wheel, and I finally got some coaching and some counseling to figure out how I love my job, but how can I do it better? I feel like I'm running myself ragged, and my team was eating my lunch. I felt like I was playing a game of whack-a-mole all day long. And so these systems definitely help. Secret number 3, we've made it to our final secret. Your staff is not learning because you have not taught them well. Now, if you'll look inside of your guide, the question is, do you have a consistent, duplicatable onboarding and training system and feel confident that every teacher knows what's expected daily? So the question is, yes, I've got an automated, streamlined system mostly, but orientation is a beating always, or I feel like I'm constantly overwhelmed with training and redirecting teachers. So one of the activities that I am going to encourage you guys to do is in the space in your workbook. I want you to write down every single step of your onboarding process, just to see from the time that you get the application, okay, you're hired. What do you do next? What do you need to do? What paperwork do you need? How do you get it? If I talk to most directors, and probably this is you hand them a stack of papers that you or your assistant or someone has had to go find the files, make the copies, stack the copies, organize the copies, give it to the people, and then sit them in a desk and make them fill all of that out. That is the most demotivating thing ever. When you get your people in, you want to get them in front of the kids. You want to see how they're working. You want to see all the cool things that they are going to bring to the team. You don't want to spend their very first exciting days filling out paperwork. Like, all that stuff should be automated, and there are free systems to be able to do that. Free, where you do not have to pay anything to be able to get that all set up for them to automate, delegate, and eliminate your hands being all over it. And guys, I'm telling you this, one of the biggest, probably worthless things that I see in our industry is the paper manual, the binder of all of the rules. Because here's the deal. Nobody reads the manual in its entirety. And if they're a good soldier and they do read the manual, they don't remember what it says. I mean, to be honest, do you remember the last 10 emails that you got? Probably not. You probably don't remember what I said 15 minutes ago, because our minds cycle out. Like, I probably have you for about 18 minutes and then you cycle out, maybe you watch a Disney movie in your head and then woo, you come back. So if you're multitasking, come back to me. Your paper manual is not effective in training your team. When they onboard, they don't remember the rules. They certainly don't get anything about what your culture is like. When I ran Stuck to Strategy before, we do this exercise where we break apart the manual. We call it the manual deconstruction. We take the entire manual, we break it up into 5 categories to say, okay, here's your culture, here are your policies, here's your procedures, here's your processes, here's where you keep where you keep the supplies. I mean, there are all these different things, how you break it down. What are your time off policies? What are your benefits policies? There's so many things, they don't remember them, but we give you free systems and show you how to turn those boring old paper manuals into training modules that can interact with your team. So when they come on, they've got a device, which is how they learn, right? Modern learners are not learning by reading a paper manual. People just don't read it. It sits on the shelf, and you want your team to know, what are they supposed to think, act, and do when they're at work. And so this is one of the things that I'm very passionate about, is making our industry realize that our staff isn't learning. They're not following the rules. They're not on brand because we're not teaching them well, right? So are your policies connected to your outcomes? John Maxwell said, policies are many and principles are few. Policies will never change, but principles never do. And this is why your teachers are not following your agenda. It's because of the paper manual. So I'm going to encourage you, ditch that paper manual that no one ever reads or follows and create a training system your people will love to learn. So we teach you how to create a streamlined onboarding and orientation experience, because really it's an experience that gives new team members clear expectations to set them up for success in your school, and one that frees them up to learn through systems that don't require your constant attention. What if people could come into your school, train, do their orientation, and it didn't require you to repeat everything that you say ad nauseum? When you get in front of them, you want to get to know their heart. You want to get to know their true talents. You want to get to know what they're going to bring to the table, how they're going to connect with the team, what's going to be the best place to put them, how excited you're going to be to introduce them to the kids and to the families. That's what you're excited about. I know you. I know that's what it is. You have zero excitement about going over the rules with them. So don't do it anymore. So make sure that you have a plan to ditch that paper manual as soon as possible. So when we do it, we, of course, use Trello and we break it down into these categories. So what we teach you how to do is to take a Trello board, organize the categories, and then we give you Canva slide deck templates. So a slide deck is what you're seeing today, my slides. That's what we call a slide deck. And Canva is a design tool, and it's got very easily shareable templates. And so as a bonus in Stuck to Strategy, we give you done for you templates. So instead of just having your manual, we give you these 5 templates, and they're about 15 to 20 page slide decks for you to go in, input all your information, and create beautiful training modules for your team that they'll be excited about. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to have a brain dump. I want you to have a Post-it party. I want you to go through all of your onboarding processes. I want you to break that down, and I want you to figure out, what does it take to get hired? What are some steps I can eliminate? What needs to work? What's working? What's not working? What needs to change? Because when you want to get from chaos to clarity, you want to have systems that are repeatable every single time, that does not require human contact. You want to automate as much as you can. And again, I told you, I'm all about as many free systems as I can give you, as many free systems as I can show you. I'm scrappy, and I know you are too. So using Post-it notes, which are some of my favorite things to do. I mean, I've got them all over my desk here. You could look around my office. I've got different little Post-it parties going around all the time. I have them lined, I have them not lined, I have different colors, different markers to write with them. But this really helps you break down your processes. And so I'm going to encourage you, after this workshop, just figure out, like, when someone comes on for training, what are all the steps? When I listed out my steps with my assistant, we had about 28 different steps, pieces of paper, knowledge, information that we have to give to our employees. And man, when we found out a way to do it that took the work off of our hands and automated it and put it online, it was a true game changer, because you want to conquer the chaos, right? You're not going to conquer the chaos until you learn to get on top of that chaos. So this is another quote from Renee, who did our program. She says, when we began to expand, the pain of turnover due to lack of consistent and clear onboarding was so evident. Beth helped me create a simple yet comprehensive system that allowed my staff to embrace and understand our brand. They are now passionate about our values and our vision. My turnover rate has dropped significantly, and I have so much more joy in leading my team. I love that. So why is now the best time to implement and improve? It's a great time to reset, realign, and restart. And I would love to help you level up your leadership and exit that overwhelm. So this is how we do it. This is Stuck to Strategy Academy. It is a group coaching program, and it's the only implementation program of its design. And it's designed to really create a community and engage and equip and empower owners and directors with strategies, systems, and support. Like I said, we've run this a few times, and it's every single time we refine it, we add more content, we get great feedback from my students, and it is a joy to run. And the doors are opening soon. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you guys into the masterclass, is to give you a lot of the content that we teach in that. So for those of you that you're not ready for something like this, take the free stuff, implement it, because what I find is that when you start going through it, you come back to me and say, hey, this is awesome. I need more. I want more. I need help. And that is what Stuck to Strategy is. So who it's for: if you're an early childhood leader, you survived the dismantling of your business and ministry, and you are ready to come back with more clarity and confidence around your purpose, your processes, and your policies, then this is for you. Or just maybe, you might be a leader of a church preschool ministry. You're battling the board for every decision, yet you know in your heart that this is your calling. Or maybe you own your own preschool or childcare center, and you're fighting to feel the joy in building your dream, but the day-to-day grind is a beatdown. Or maybe you are a director or manager of a center, and you just need consistency, and you wish you had the tools to train your team and get them aligned. Well, friends, this is where you're going to get those tools. So there's 3 core modules in Stuck to Strategy. Like I said, it's an 8-week program. You get lifetime access to all the training videos, tools for productivity, all the automation, all the templates, literally hundreds of worksheets to simplify your learning and implementation process. So here's a little bit of how that works. For your purpose, you get a professional leadership framework to help you understand the good and then the gaps in your leadership style. So we really do a good assessment of that. You get a MasterClass for your teachers to buy them into your process, and they earn 2 hours of credit. And by the way, by doing Stuck to Strategy, directors get 20 hours of professional development. So this is 20 hours for you, and then 2 hours for each person on your team. And then, of course, the best thing is you get clarity around what your culture and vision are, so that you understand the mind shifts that you need to make. Then we break down the processes. Like I said, implementation tools to automate your repetitive tasks. Learn to prioritize and plan your time, understand how to manage your expectations without micromanaging your team, and then, of course, commit to a system that limits your distractions. And then finally, your policies. So we give you, again, lots of templates and tools to digitize your onboarding and orientation, to free you up to lead and love your people. We give you also agreements that your staff understands what's expected of them, their commitments, a confidentiality agreement, a 1-year contract created by attorneys, and then also training on intentional learning design so that you understand how to make learning stick with your team. So the doors for Stuck to Strategy open. They're open today, and then they stay open through March 29th. This section of Stuck to Strategy, we are going to kick off on March 30th, which is it's in about 10 days from where I'm hearing. So I don't know what date you're watching. You're watching it between now and March 29th. So I hope that you really dive into BethCannonspeaks.com/stuck-to-strategy. You'll see everything you need to know right there. So this is what you're going to put into action. You're going to set up systems that save your sanity. You will ditch that paper manual nobody ever reads anyway. You're going to create a streamlined onboarding and orientation process, and you are going to motivate and develop your team in a way that makes them want to take personal responsibility. So you are going to overcome wondering if that task you delegated ever got done. You're going to take charge over your own schedule instead of your schedule taking charge of you. You're going to try to figure out why your staff can't follow, quote, your rules. You're battling burnout and dreading each new day and the drama it might bring. And then, of course, the constant frustration with your own inability to finally get organized. So if you've got questions, ask in the comments. If you're watching on a replay, shoot me an email, beth@bethcannonspeaks.com. I'll be happy to answer that for you. So inside of Stuck-to-Strategy, this all-inclusive Academy assets, you get our signature transformation toolbox, which are a lot of things I've mentioned, your step-by-step hiring and retaining system, your staff evaluation framework, and business leadership. But here's the cool part about all these juicy bonuses. Now, I am a sucker for bonuses. And so when we created Stuck-to-Strategy and we put everything together, I wanted to make sure that you guys get a ton of value, because in early childhood, like, we kind of have this mindset about money, like these limiting beliefs. Well, I can't do that. I can't do that. So because I know that we have that, I always try to make sure that anything that we do gives you guys a super lot of value. So bonus one, like I said, it's going to be this live master training class for your teachers where they're going to get 2 hours. And then the slide deck bundle. So if you enroll by the 26th, you will get the slide deck bundle. It's 5 slide decks for your onboarding process. And that is a fast action bonus. And then Trello templates, you will get several different Trello template boards for your processes and your project management. You get 8 weeks of live Q&A support with yours truly. And then you'll also get several contract templates for employee onboarding. And those were all created by attorneys as well. So those are the bonuses you get. And then the boss bundle looks like this: 20 professional development hours, all those amazing bonuses, 8 weeks of community support, and the entire system. It's only $497. So that is for 8 total weeks. And the cool thing about it is that you do get lifetime access. So my crew that ran through this in the fall, they've got lifetime access again. I know some of them, the fall was a little bit crazy. They had a lot of COVID. They had a lot of turnover. So they are working through the process. And the cool thing, they can go back. They can listen to our coaching calls. They can listen to everything that we break down. So it's all online. You'll have 6 to 10 different lessons to kind of watch during the week. It takes about 3 to 5 hours a week to kind of work through this all. So you're going to make sure that you can at least commit 3 to 5 hours during this time that you're going through this, because you invest in yourself, and the time that you take to invest in all of this, I promise you, it'll get returned to you 10,000-fold, because I've seen it work. And then remember, I did mention that if you do this right after you watch this replay, you get a fast action bonus. It's 24 hours of professional development from our Leaders Lounge from this past spring that we just ran, over $8,000 in bonuses from our speakers as well. So those are, we turned our summit into online courses. So you can go on, you can watch the video, you can take a short assessment, and then you can get some hours as well. So through all of this, you can get up to 44 hours. I know that's probably not all that you need, but it's hours in early childhood development, physical literacy, reading, business, leadership, time management, motivation. I mean, you name it, we've got you covered. And so great world-class trainers. I know that if you didn't grab the Leaders Lounge, or if you didn't see that, that is something that you guys are going to super love. So that is your fast action bonus. And then here are your options. You can DIY it like usual without a clear path or accountability, and risk being in the exact same place next year with the gap still existing between where you are and where you want to be. Now, I'll tell you guys, I teach this, and I'm passionate about teaching this because I learned it. And I spent way too many years spinning my wheels, afraid, gosh, I don't know if I can spend the money. I don't need a coach. I can do this by myself. Or just realizing that my family was getting leftovers when I had so much turnover in my staff. Or you can commit 100% by following this proven strategy and finally leveling up to be the leader that you know that you are created to be. So, but here's the best thing. There's a risk-free guarantee. I have a policy. You test it, try it, and apply it. And after the first week, if you don't dig it, then you don't do it. So you get a complete risk-free money-back guarantee after the first week if you find that it's not for you. So if you do the work and you're still not satisfied within 7 days of enrolling, we will gladly refund your money. So once again, here is what you get. You get that live masterclass for your teachers. That's on creating a brand new culture. You get a slide deck bundle. You also get your Trello template boards. You get 8 weeks of live Q&A support. You get your contract templates, and then you get your Leaders Lounge bonuses. So that is all that you get. That is a quick overview of the details. It's an exclusive 8-week intensive group coaching experience, and the doors are open now, and they close on March 29th. Because this is it's really kind of an elite program. It's a small group coaching program. We limit the number of people that we can take because I want to be able to give you guys the time, the one-on-one coaching time when we're in our group coaching calls every single week. So that's why the doors open and that's why the doors close. That's why this is something that's not run on an everyday basis. It's only available a few times a year. So I want you to remember why you guys showed up today, even though you're super busy because something you read resonated with you. And maybe you're thinking, I don't have the time to devote to this right now because I'm already feeling overwhelmed. And that's exactly why this is for you. Stuck to Strategy Academy will give you the tools, tips, and tricks to support and guide you on your transformation journey to becoming that faithful, focused, mission-minded, team-building boss you know you were created to be. And remember, if you purchase right after this, you'll get the chunk of the Leaders Lounge Fast Action bonus, which is 24 hours of professional development for you, or even you can assign it to someone on your team. So I hope you guys get started today. You just have to go to bethcannonspeaks.com/stuck to strategy. And I want to thank you. It's truly a privilege and an honor that you would take this time to come and spend it with me to learn. I'm a teacher by nature. My first job out of college was teaching school. And then, of course, I mentioned this after I had my daughter, I started working in early childhood as an entrepreneur. But when mompreneur was not even a word. So I've done this for a lot of years. I've invested so much time in training and in leadership. But really what the last year has given me an opportunity to do is to meet so many early childhood education leaders from around the world and to know what your pain points are now. Because the pain points that you have now, yes, there's a lot of things that are the same. Before COVID, we still had turnover. We still had teachers that didn't act right. We still had too many call outs. We still had teachers that didn't really understand how to communicate with parents or how to handle behavior issues or how to think for themselves and how to use, and we teach you in this, how to use the coach approach, which is where you actually teach your teachers to think for themselves. What a concept that is, right? But like I said, I've lived it, I've taught it, I've learned it. I finally got myself out of the overwhelm and into a space to where I can enjoy some freedom in my day because so many things I've delegated, I've eliminated, or I've automated them to make my life a lot easier. And again, with a lot of free tools. So I hope that you choose Stuck to Strategy. I would love nothing more than for you to be inside of my program. I would love nothing more than to get to know you, to coach you, because I just trust that there is going to be just the most amazing group of ECE leaders that are going to get to walk this journey with us this spring. So again, it's bethcannonspeaks.com/stuck to strategy. Feel free to call me, message me, email me. More than happy to answer any questions that you have and even happy to hop on a call with you. So God bless you. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And thanks again for tuning in.